People enjoy watching a train wreck, whether it's a schadenfreude or trying to learn from the mistakes of others. We just cannot look away. Today's subject, Rudy Giuliani, or formerly known as Donald Trump's lawyer, just couldn't stop humiliating himself in a series of public appearances spanning from November to December 2020. For quick context, after Donald Trump lost the November 2020 election, he refused to concede. Then he and his team launched a campaign to get the election results overturned by filing dozens of lawsuits alleging voter fraud.
We were getting ready to win this election. Frankly, we did win this election. We did win this election. So our goal now is to ensure the integrity for the good of this nation. This is a very big moment. This is a major fraud in our nation. We want the law to be used in a proper manner. So we'll be going to the U.S. Supreme Court. We want all voting to stop.
The leading man for this cause was his lawyer, Rudy Giuliani. It all started on November 7th. Donald Trump tweeted that a big press conference would be held at the Four Seasons Hotel later that day. The purpose of this conference was to announce the intention to challenge some of the election results. At this stage, the final winner of the election had not been announced. They were just contesting some of the states which had been called. Within a few minutes, Donald Trump deleted his tweet and replaced it with another one clarifying that the press conference would be held at a Four Seasons Total Landscaping. The team had mistakenly booked a Four Seasons Total Landscaping, which is a small gardening business located between a crematorium and a sex shop, instead of the Four Seasons, a luxury hotel. I dare you to think of a better metaphor for the circle of life than co-locating sex and death. According to an employee of the landscaping company, he received a call from the Trump campaign while he was at Bible study. In his mind, he could not understand why the president's team would want to host a conference there. But he rushed back to clear out junk from the parking area because it was the only space they could think of that could host a press conference. And later, there stood Rudy in front of the garage door announcing the intentions to hijack democracy. He rambled incoherently, creating many memeable moments. My favorite highlights are when he had to stop talking to wait for an airplane to fly over.
Of about, I'd say 50 to 60 poll watchers who will all testify that they were uniformly, we'll wait.
And then him completely losing his mind when he found out right in the middle of the conference that the final election results had been called and Trump had lost.
The poll? Because they don't decide the election. The call for Joe Biden is it, who was it called by? Oh my goodness, all the networks. Wow. All the networks. We have to forget about the law. Judges don't count. All the networks thought Biden was going to win by 10%. Gee, what happened? Come on, don't be ridiculous. Networks don't get to decide elections. Courts do.
Someone also said, which I could not confirm with video, that during the press conference, there was a man in his underwear protesting Trump from across the street. The story of the parking lot press conference was so random and bizarre that a documentary was made about it. The documentary mainly focused on how this viral press conference almost destroyed a small family business due to the public attention it drew. People were flooding the company with hate calls and leaving one-star reviews on the company's Yelp page, with some accusing the family of aiding the Trump campaign on the election fraud conspiracy.
We just had no idea what we were in for.
Oh Oh my goodness, all the networks!
I remember asking, did we make a mistake?
We had a lot of haters.
You have 1,010 new messages.
It created a lot of fear of what the future holds for Four Seasons Total Landscaping.
However, things did turn around for the company when they started getting in on the joke through social media posts and selling merch.
We got put into a corner and we used our humor to get us out of it.
Oh, all the networks.
They made a joke out of everything because it was funny to us.
Which amassed them a cool $1.5 million in sales. They also apparently gained new clients thanks to the free marketing. It may have been an embarrassment for Rudy, but it was definitely a good day for capitalism. So shout out to capitalism, I guess. This entire saga was summed up best by the former Attorney General William Barr in his memoir when he referred to it as a, quote, grotesque embarrassment. However, Rudy was not done embarrassing himself. Barely 2 weeks later, on November 19th, he was back on screen giving another press conference, still about election fraud. While he was rambling on and on, he was sweating and black liquid started dripping down the sides of his face. Yes, it was hair dye. Although some have speculated that this was his rotten brain leaking out. I'd like to highlight two things that fascinate me about this moment. One, it was so unnecessary because he is almost completely bald, and dyeing his 5 gray hairs was not turning anything around for him. Two, in this clip, he clearly feels the trails of sweat running down the sides of his face, but only dabs his forehead. Even Donald Trump, the man known for his terrible hair, was reportedly unsettled by the sight of Rudy leaking on live television. Anyway, Rudy continued to be a train wreck on December 3rd. This time, he was at a court hearing about election fraud when he farted pretty loudly.
They gave you is they didn't bother to interview a single witness, just like you.
So by this point, Rudy had leaked liquid, released gas, but could he make a solid case for voter fraud? Let's have a look. He brought his star witness to court. This is the woman who was supposed to blow the case wide open and reveal all the fraud she had witnessed. But instead, she went viral for acting so crazy that people speculated she was drunk during testimony.
My life has been destroyed. My life has been completely destroyed because of this. I've lost family. I've lost friends. I've been threatened. My kids have been threatened. I've had to move. I've had to change my phone number. I've had to get rid of social media. Nobody wants to come forward. They're getting threatened. Their lives are getting ruined. I can't even get an actual job anymore. I can't. Because Democrats like to ruin your lives. That's why.
At some point, Rudy reached over the desk trying to shush her. I honestly do not think I have ever seen a lawyer shushing a witness while testifying on their behalf. Anyway, we need to move along to December 6th, exactly 1 month after his first embarrassing performance. Rudy went viral in a more literal sense this time when he tested positive for COVID-19, for which he had to spend 5 days in the hospital. I would normally consider this sad, but I think in this case, it was the universe trying to give Rudy a rest. It was giving him an opportunity away from the spotlight to rethink his life. So, did all the public humiliation pay off for Rudy? Let's quickly go through some of the rewards that Rudy cashed out for all his hard work and sweat. By January 6th, 2021, they had lost 61 out of the 62 lawsuits they filed. That's a 98.4% failure rate, or if you're an optimist, a 1.6% success rate. Then on January 14th, The Guardian reported that Donald Trump was refusing to pay him his legal fees because, quote, he was offended by Giuliani's demand for $20,000 a day. I guess now we know 20K is a going price for dignity. Honestly, now that I hear it, I would also fight in front of a judge for 20 grand a day. Still in January 2021, Dominion Technologies, a company that produced the voting machines that Rudy was claiming were involved in the voter fraud, filed a $1.3 billion lawsuit against him. I love this for Rudy, honestly. Then finally, in June 2021, his law license was suspended by the state of New York because of the election fraud misinformation that Rudy had spread. 2020 was a rough year for everybody, but Rudy definitely took the cake. Whether this was an orchestrated plot for attention or just public displays of incompetence, Rudy's antics provided a source of entertainment for me. So thank you, Rudy. If you're still watching, thank you for tuning in. Please share your favorite silly stories about public figures down below. I am looking forward to reading them. Some of my favorites include the Prime Minister of Britain waving a meaningless piece of paper at the airport declaring peace in Europe, but then World War II breaking out shortly after, or the story of Azealia Banks and Elon Musk feuding on Twitter.